he finds even more obscure things, which is always a real delight in terms of my film education. So really fun working with him that way.
Other more powerful entities may come through.
Not on our watch.
Well, what are you gonna do? Seriously?
Yeah.
They're already dead.
You're gonna be deader.
Okay.
Hello, Jeffrey. How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations on the movie. It's super fun, and it tackles on very serious themes, and I enjoyed it very much. For my first question, what can the fans expect from Haunted Mansion?
I think the fans of the ride can expect to be steeped in the fun atmosphere, the spooky yet comedic vibe that the ride strikes so carefully. Extended and a movie really made for them, so they'll be able to see all the things they love from the ride in the movie, and when they ride the ride again, they'll remember a lot of the fun things that were able to weave into the film. So it's kind of a fun but a little bit scary ride to bring a lot more people to what made this 1969 ride so unique, this balance. Yeah.
I'm dying to go to the ride because I'm from Brazil and I've been to Disneyland just once and I hadn't had the chance to go. And I watched the movie and I was like, I need to go.
That'd be a really unique experience to have first watched the movie and then go to the ride. But I think you'll notice a lot of things. I think that's a fun way to do it.
Yeah, I can't wait to go. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you worked with Justin Simien in Dear White People, right?
Yes, we did the first season of his Netflix show, Dear White People, together. And that's how I first met him.
Yes, which is one of my favorite shows ever because I love Dear White People because it's so fun and critical. And I wanted to ask, what did you bring from your previous work with the director, Justin Simien, to this movie? Because I know it's two genres completely different.
Sure. Yeah. I think even though it's very different genres, we bring the same thing to both, which is we like to work with each other personally. I mean, Justin's a very smart and kind person to work with, which is something I always look out for. He's also a real cineast, like he's a film historian. For that, the references will change what we're working on, but he'll always be pulling up things from 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s filmmaking, saying, hey, let's look at this. So we always connected on that level. I always sort of met him there and was like, oh yeah, totally, because we both have sort of a background in studying that stuff. He finds even more obscure things, which is always a real delight in terms of my film education. So really fun working with him that way. We share what we think looks good and beautiful. I think we share that aesthetic, like we agree on what that is. So there's a certain level of freedom. He knows he's, just like when he's working with Darren Guilford, the production designer, the costume designer, he trusts that we're all working to create a very rich and sort of timeless feel. So yeah, there's the trust. He's a great guy. He's a really smart filmmaker. He also has this sort of independent core, which I think is really unique in a film of this scope. Where he cares so much about the emotional story, the personal story, even though this is a giant movie about a giant house with lots of funny characters. He gives the time and the effort and the attention to Ben's personal story, which I think makes this movie unique among movies of this scope.
And as I mentioned in the beginning of the interview, the movie tackles on grief and the pain that comes with grief. I saw myself because I lost my best friend a couple of years ago, so I know what that's like. And I wanted to know what was the main challenge to translate the grief and the pain and the thought of losing someone into the cinematography?
Yeah, that's a very great question. I think it comes down to some of the flashbacks in terms of the cinematography handling of it. In creating specifically those flashbacks, I wanted to create what felt like Ben's personal memory, more than sort of an objective, just another scene. So that whenever we flashed back, it felt like it was actually him remembering. So I gave him a very distinct lighting look with a lot deeper colors of red and pink and blue. And there's also this sort of a little bit of a lens aberration around the sides. Because I think we keep the people we lose alive by remembering them. And the more we remember that, the more that those images sort of become heightened and adorned in our memory. So I think a big part of creating that depth for him was creating a memory world that felt really personal and important to him. So he wasn't just, telling us about this sort of faceless feeling he has. We could actually see him as he remembered her. So that was I think an important part of that.
And I wanted to know if there ever was to be a sequel, because I love the movie, so I want to see more. We always do. What would you like to see in a sequel?
Great question. Well, that one I'm going to have to think about a little bit, because I mean the ride itself is only like 3 or 4 minutes long, and we really did hit visually all of those things. I think I'd either like to see a world where our heroes go back and now live with these ghosts that are free to be out in the open, and we can sort of chase another ghost story through this waking world. I think by the end of the film, it's very fun that the ghosts aren't hidden in the ghost realm anymore. They're in our realm. They're dancing. They're living their lives. So what would it be like if our characters, decided to stay there, and where would that go? Similarly, I think, there's maybe untapped opportunity, in Crump's mansion as well, which the exterior of was supposed to be a nod to the Disney World mansion exterior. The interior is very different, but I think it's kind of fun that there could be other mansions. So I don't know. I honestly, no one's ever explored that with me, but I think there's a lot of opportunity for fun stuff.
I agree. I would love to revisit, and the ending of the movie is just superb. I loved it.
Awesome.
Because it's so different from the 2003 movie. It's a new idea, new concept, and I think it was just marvelous.
Awesome.
Everything about it. These were all the questions that I had. So thank you very much. It was an honor talking to you, and congratulations again.
Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.